I see the Padawan needs one last lesson. Tell me, is it the chosen one? He will avenge us.
Do or do not. There is no try.
What a way to start a stream. I'm like, boy, I hope my microphone's working. Oh, that's fun. Hello, everybody. I guess I'll start back over. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Good to have you here, my sweet summer children. We've got a lot to talk about. There's something going on, by the way, because it shows that nobody's watching. So maybe this is Disney's way of telling you that you don't matter. You don't matter. Your voices don't matter. Look, we got a lot to talk about, okay? There's a lot that happened in this episode. There's a lot that's gone on kind of behind the scenes at Lucasfilm when it comes to the Mandalorian premiere and everything else that's been going on. There's a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm hoping we can get all this done in an hour. If we don't, then I guess we'll go past it, whatever. But good to see all these beautiful people in the chat. I have seen this chat just absolutely explode before I even started the stream. So many amazing people here. There's so much chat. I can't go through and say hi to absolutely everyone. So no, I love you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. But let's get into this thing without any further ado. Oh boy, Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. Guys, look, this was such a massive step in the wrong direction for me. Not even the wrong direction. It was like a massive step backwards for me. I think that's the thing that upsets me the most about this episode was we really regressed back to like that. As my good friend who's in the chat right now, Raging Rhino, would say, there's a lot of seal clap moments in this episode. Just It sounded more like a Tusken Raider, I guess. I don't know. But look, here's the deal. This is the problem for me with this episode, is that right on like the bell ends, there's some good stuff. And knowing that this episode was like almost an hour long, I was expecting so much. And yet, the middle portion of this episode drove me up a fucking wall. It drove me absolutely insane. And it's such a bummer too, because I remember specifically, you know, I wake up and I watch these at 5 o'clock. I don't do the watch parties anymore. I'm too old. All right. I got to get up early for work. So it's better for me just to go to bed, wake up at 5 o'clock and watch it in the morning. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I'm seeing all this stuff going on with the TIE fighters. I have some questions, or the TIE interceptors. I have some questions as to where they're coming from. But regardless, I hit up Matt. We have a group chat, and I hit up Matt, and I'm like, dude, I got to be honest with you. Like, this is looking really, really good. And then I was dead silent for about the next hour. And we didn't talk until later again that day. And I was not a happy camper. I wasn't happy with it. This episode was purely new age Star Wars, if that makes sense. And I'm going to go into this later, and I'm going to talk about it when we're actually looking at all the sections of what happened with Pershing and, you know, Butch Laura Croft later. But, you know, essentially my hopes were brought up massively and then dashed completely. And so I think that's why I was so upset about it. And to be honest with you guys, like, there was some recency bias when I watched it where I'm like, okay, this is kind of like, you know, this is Andor-ish. I get what they're trying to do. And then there's one scene in particular that just set me off, and there was no coming back from that. But let's get started. Actually, hold on. You know what? I'm going to leave you guys by yourself in here for like 30 seconds. Don't burn the place down. Don't set any bombs off. Don't do anything crazy. I'm going to leave you alone for maybe 30 seconds tops, and then I'll be right back, okay? You behave yourselves. Behave yourselves.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Are we good? Is everybody alive? Okay, I think we're good. No, it was not a pee break. It's not a pee break. He's gone. Let's get naked. I see Knights Melvin in the chat. What's up, brother? We got, oh, what is this? The Hangar Bay Daimyo? No. I do not approve. I don't approve of this. I don't like it. We got a Mandalorian episode in Boba Fett, and we got an Andor episode in The Mandalorian. Kind of. I can't trust. I'm watching the chat right now. All right, we got people who are naked, people drawing wieners all over the place. What are you doing, Step Matt? Good lord, a pee break already. All right, you know what? You guys are freaking hooligans. I'm trying to be a professional here. I'm trying to talk about Star Wars. I can't trust you for less than 30 seconds. I guess I'll get on with the show. Okay, so let's just pop in with, I guess the first discussion that I want to have is about what is going on with Star Wars viewership, because this is kind of insane. So I'm going to bring up the news article, and like, honestly, I couldn't even believe it as I'm reading through it. I guess I sort of can. I don't know. So Mando premiere kicks off, and this is from Samba TV. So they do, it's kind of like a Nielsen's house, basically, where they stick these particular recording devices in people's homes, and they can see who's who. So 1.6 million for Mandalorian. Now, this is the craziest part for me. 1.6 million. If I didn't know anything, I'd say like, oh, okay, hey, that's a bunch of people. Nice. But when you go down, Book of Boba Fett got 1.7 million, which is still, I think, not that great. And then Kenobi got 2.14 million. So this is the thing that kind of drives me nuts. You know, we've said over and over again, I've said over and over again, I feel like Disney hates the prequels. I really feel like they hate the prequels because the sequel trilogy was essentially the most like anti-prequel Star Wars you could make in major Hollywood. And so you get this massive drive of viewership at 2.14 million for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then we get back to Mando, the flagship. And this is the most important part, the flagship series of Disney Plus. This is without a doubt, hands down, bar none, this is the flagship series for Disney Plus. Gets 1.6 million views for the premiere. Now, the crazy part is, I don't feel like they've done anything all that drastic. Oh, wait a minute. They did. They fired somebody. They fired somebody very important. And all of a sudden, Mandalorian viewership just drops. Could it have anything to do with the firing of somebody? Could it have anything to do with the absolute horror fest that was Kenobi that drove viewership down to a record low for the flagship series of Disney Plus? I could be nuts, okay? And look, I've been having arguments about the future of Disney Plus for years at this point. It's been 2 years, and I got to be honest with you, when I started my channel, I had a lot of hope, and I was feeling really good because of everything that was going on with Mandalorian. And then, of course, we get the firing, which was no so bueno. And here we are now, basically 2 years later, and we're looking at a record low viewership for basically flagship series. I would call Andor, actually Andor was like a lot lower, if I'm not mistaken. Andor was extremely low. And I think that was a side effect of everything that happened with Kenobi and Boba Fett. But again, 1.6 million, maybe not the numbers they were looking for. I got to catch up with chat here. I'm sorry, I'm not being good. Todzilla's in the house. What's up, Todzilla? Good to see you, brother. Last time I was in Nashville, I got to hang out with Todzilla for a minute, actually. We were waiting in line for something. I think it was the panel. Was it the panel for Anthony Daniels? I think it was the panel for Anthony Daniels. And Todzilla's like, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit. So we got to hang out for a minute. Good to see you, Todd. Glad to have you here. And Raging Rhino, my friend from Dayananda, became a member. God, that song just gets me in the mood. I'm not going to lie. Gets me in the lie. Gets me in the mood. Gets me in the lie. Gets me in the mood. We're all sad and hurt from Kenobi. Yeah, honestly, that was like... And a lot of people are like, dude, look, the Boba Fett series was so much more damaging. And I can totally understand that because of the story writing. When it comes to Kenobi, I feel like it was a double whammy. It was a double whammy with bad writing, but also horrific special effects, CG, and camera work. It was just, that was so damaging for me. That's where I really fell off. I don't know if anybody was around when all that happened. I went dark on YouTube for like a month. I just disappeared. I'm like, I don't want to talk. I don't really want to talk. I'll start talking and people are going to be like, you're a grifter. You're a piece of shit. We don't want to let you. You're just in it for the clicks. Because you can't be honest on YouTube if you're negative. That's the bottom line. They just stick you in a nice little box. Well, guess what? It's totally what I'm going to do today. Oh, good to see my brother Justin in here. Hope everything's going okay, man. Good to see you. And my homie, the legendary Tron. He fights for the users. Tron is in here. We're in the process. Everybody who donated, thank you so much. We're in the process of getting the bank transfers taken care of. So he gets that new space age, crazy, awesome graphics card that everybody was so kind to donate to on the GoFundMe. So we are well on our way. And thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. Okay. Oh, God. Where there's a will, there's a trench coat. Don't look, I'm not here. Yeah, Kenobi's a dumpster fire. I'm not here. We're not doing Kenobi today. Maybe I'll do a Kenobi stream at some point where I'll sit down and just talk. I'll just talk about that experience for me and how it just absolutely destroyed me. It was just so terrible. Okay, so, oh, Mike Porter's in the chat too. I hope you find peace with Star Wars. I hope I do too. Most important thing for me right now is to try to at least vent some of my frustrations, talk about what's going on, and maybe, just maybe, It reaches some ears somewhere and somebody goes, oh, okay, that's what they're mad about. This is why they're upset. This is why it's not working. But without any further ado, let's jump into the episode. Let's talk about what we saw. Let's talk about some of the good things. Let's talk about some of the really bad things. Mandalorian. Chapter 19, is it now? I think it's 19. I'm going to change the music. Let's put it on some lo-fi. Blue Moon. That's what it's called. Uh-oh. Wait, did I miss something? Did I miss something? Hold up here. X-Wing giving some gift members back. I just jumped in Raging Rhino stream the other day and just started throwing money at his face. Rising tide raises all ships. I'm like, take it. Love it. Hold on. I got to go. I didn't have my chat blown up from the YouTube side because anybody who's a YouTuber knows that you can't see any of that stuff. So Raging Rhino gifted 5 memberships. My brother. Thank you so much, man. Anybody who is in the chat that was gifted one of those subs, throw some emojis in the chat. Let me know that you're here. I appreciate it so much. Raging Rhino, this one's for you. Anyways, thank you so much for that, brother. I'm glad having you here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. He's been kind of making fun of me. I won't go as far as to say that he's been calling me a seal clapper, but I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of more with Rhino on this episode, man. I'm more with Rhino. There was a lot of that good old-fashioned Disney magic in this one. So let's take a look at what we saw. Let's take a look. Let's kind of go through some of the stills on the show and see what we got. So obviously, you know, end of the last episode, we start back down there in the mines of Mandalore. She completely avoids telling Din that she saw the mythosaur for some reason. Why, we don't exactly know yet, but that's being held as a mystery at this point. So they yeet out of there. They hop in Bo's ship. They start to leave the planet, and oh my bro, StreamYard's just straight up muted me. I didn't even click anything. It just muted me. Wow. And I was on a roll too. I'm listing shit off. Okay, I don't know where it got missed, so I'm just gonna go back to this part and I'm gonna try to pay attention to see if StreamYards does it again. I'm putting together a great show for you guys. Okay, putting together a great show for you guys. So Bo-Katan and Din take off. Now I'm all nervous. I'm like checking the side of my screen to see if it does it again. So Bo-Katan and Din are in the ship. They take off, and all of a sudden we get a whole mess of TIE interceptors. Okay, TIE interceptors are coming after Bo and Din, and this is what I was stating as I was muted for some reason. Am I still muted? I'm not muted. Don't fudge with me, man. Don't fudge with me. I'm gonna wait this out until chat catches up because I'm not gonna go on this rant until I'm sure. Speaking of which, I need to. You guys got me all stressed out. I need to have a beer now. To Star Wars. Okay, so Bo and Din take off. They're heading back. All of a sudden, a bunch of TIE interceptors show up. And we're like, holy crap, where did those come from? And I'll be honest with you, for the amount of TIE interceptors that we saw, those couldn't have come off of Moff Gideon's original ship, his light cruiser. There's just no way. From the amount of TIE bombers that we saw, from the amount of TIE interceptors that we saw, that could have only come from an ISD, an actual Star Destroyer. You're not going to fit that many on Gideon's ship. They didn't have room in the hangar for that many ships. So we didn't see where these came from. There could be an ISD parked on the other side of the planet. I suppose it's possible. I don't know. Doesn't really make sense, but let's let the plot happen. So they get in this awesome kind of dogfight down in atmosphere. They're fighting off the TIE interceptors. Everything's looking hunky-dory. I'd like to point out at this point, there is no droid dome, or there is no Grogu dome on the top of the N1. So that's good. And I want to thank my friend in the chat, Raging Rhino, for pointing this out. We'll come back to that later. So we get into this big fight, and all of a sudden, after we've gotten them defeated, now we've got a whole cadre of TIE interceptors showing up. And all of a sudden, TIE bombers show up. They blow the hell out of Bo-Katan's home, the castle. Now she's got nowhere to go. What's she going to do? Where's she going to go? We don't have anywhere. Where's she going to go? Well, keep that in mind, because that's going to come up later. So Bo-Katan kind of decides she's going to go absolute Bo-Karen kamikaze and try to take on, whatever it was, 27 TIE interceptors, charges them. And I kind of freaked out for a little minute because I'm like, bro, she's got Baby Yoda on the ship. This isn't going to work. But they boot scoot, they leave, and poof, that's it. That's basically the last time that we see Din Djarin, Baby Yoda, or Bo-Katan for the entire episode until the very, 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 very end. And we're like, damn, okay, this is kind of crazy. Like, I can't wait to see what happens. Where are they going? What's going to go on? And then, boom, right after you get the title, you get possibly the most gorgeous Coruscant. I was so happy. We just got like a massive dogfight in atmosphere again. For some reason, they just love having dogfights in atmosphere. For some reason, we can't have space fights. Space fights are a no-go in Star Wars. I don't know why. And one other thing really quick before we move on, it kind of drove me nuts when Mando's like, wow, these TIE interceptors are a lot tougher than TIE fighters. Imp ships were not shielded. So they were faster and more heavily armed, but they were not more heavily armored. Derp. But we get this beautiful Coruscant. I'm not even mad at this point. I'm like, oh my God, look at how gorgeous this is. And it really is. And it makes me all the more frustrated. I hate to go back. Makes me all the more frustrated for the absolute shit fest that we got in Kenobi. Because where was this in Kenobi? Where was this shit in Kenobi? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. But immediately after we get this beautiful skyline shot, it's the freaking opera house. It's the opera house. I'm like, oh my God. They even used the same clap track from Revenge of the Sith. So like at this point, I'm a happy Star Wars fan. I'm stoked. I'm yoked. I'm ripped. I'm like, let's go. This is exactly what I want. We've gotten a starship battle. We're back on Coruscant. It's done beautifully. We're back at the opera house. They're giving auditory cues back from Revenge of the Sith. Everything looks perfect. I dropped my phone. But the feeling was not to last. So, reintroduce Little Miss Pershing, right? Little Miss Pershing is speaking at the opera house, talking about basically everything that happened while he was an Imperial and how he's so excited to start his journey with the New Republic because obviously he's defected. And we have a strange mystery character in the background. Who could this be? I have no idea. If it wasn't evident to everybody at a very early stage what was going on here, I don't know what to say. I don't know. So this part was kind of cool. You know, they're in the amphitheater. He's talking about it. A lot of people, I'm going to scoot back a little bit. A lot of people were complaining about the glasses. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Not an issue for me, like at all. This didn't bother me at all. Pershing's always had glasses. So not really something that bothered me or anything like that. I guess for a couple people it did. It was kind of like the bricks and screws thing. I don't know. I guess they were upset. Oh, Star Wars Dog. I wish I could pull it up on screen. Star Wars Dog gifted another membership. My brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, brother. Every time we get any gifted subs or new members, we're going to do a little bit of badang-a-dang. But I'm going to put this up. Because I'm interested. I don't know. I like asking the community and going back and looking and being like, is this because it was, dude, that shit was popping on Twitter for a minute. People are glasses? Are you kidding me? Glasses? I'm like, well, I don't know if that's really my biggest problem with the episode. But regardless. So Pershing gives his speech. We find out he's basically kind of trying to, he's kind of trying to integrate into the New Republic. Talking about basically how he was a cloner. All this stuff was great. Everything's great. We're looking good. And then boom, like Disney Star Wars rears its ugly head once again with some of the most like draggy, cringy, odd, weird dialogue. I don't know why they do these. Like, I feel like they spend too much time sometimes with these like up close, I don't know if you want to call them like not side characters, but what's the word I'm looking for? Extras, basically. They spend a lot of time with these extras, the inhabitants of these worlds. And a lot of times, I don't know if it's the caliber of actor, and I'm not talking down to anybody or anything like that, but I don't know if it's the caliber of the actor or spending too much time with some of the aliens and stuff like that. For me, it starts to drag. It starts like, oh my God, this is Disney exposition. This is Disney Expo 23 all over. Just it consumes the entire episode, and it takes a lot of it out for me because we've just spent kind of so much time in this absolutely magical shot of this gorgeous Coruscant, and then we've gone back to a familiar location, and we're like, oh dude, these are all fun familiar things that are getting me excited about Star Wars again. And then we walk outside and they just shit all over it. It bugs the heck out of me, and I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't want to crap on any of the extras that were there. I know that they did the best they could. I don't know if it was the way that they wrote the dialogue or what, but my God, the scene just kicks off an absolute ish fest. So Pershing leaves. He's headed off to his new prison, home, housing for this reintegration program, right? And we get these kind of super plain mechs that are these droids that are just kind of, they seem like they're run down, right? Or at least super base model. They're like Wish droids, right? If you ordered C-3PO on Wish, that's what you would get. So he goes into this very kind of Andor-esque apartment building, and I think this is where kind of the Andor vibes started to come in, because a lot of people haven't really seen like some of the other areas of Coruscant. Obviously, during the trilogy, we're spending a bunch of time in some of the most palatial areas of Coruscant, right? You're in the Senate chambers, you're in the Chancellor's office, you're in the Jedi Temple, you're at the opera. Like, these are very palatial places. Now you roll back to Coruscant, and you wind up in basically, like what Brian's saying right here, a Coruscant homeless facility, this reintegration program, and all of a sudden now we're like grayscaled back down to Andor. And it was a massive contrast. I at this point, I was like, I'm just happy we're done with the extra scene at the Opera House. So let's see what this has to offer. So Pershing runs into this group of former Imperials. They're like, hey, I used to be a sharpshooter. Yeah, I like shot and killed a bunch of people, but we're good now. We're all good now. I'm almost shocked I didn't see freaking Bill Burr in there. Hey, how's it going, Dr. Pershing? They sit down at the table, and lo and behold, who's sitting at the table? Let's see if I can even grab a screen. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. Boom! Moff Gideon's comm officer. I wonder what she's doing here in the exact same place on a planet of 1.3 trillion people, at the exact table in the exact block that he's going to at the exact time.
Stupid!
So they're drinking some form of yogurt water. Coming to Galaxy's Edge soon. This yogurt water, whatever this is, definitely going to be for sale in Galaxy's Edge. Definitely going to be for sale there. So they hang out, they drink a little bit. We get some exposition. There's some kind of interesting talk about, you know, what it's like now, and we've moved on. And oh my God, I'm so excited for the New Republic, and yay. And they talk about biscuits, travel biscuits. What was your favorite travel biscuit? I liked the yellow ones. Well, I liked the red ones. Can we get them now? Of course not. This is the New Republic. Keep that in mind, because that's going to come later. Also, red and yellow travel biscuits coming to Galaxy's Edge in 2023. You mark my words, dude. Mark my words. So they hang out for a little bit, reminisce about the Empire, and he's like, all right, I guess I trust you, even though we were like completely horrible people. So he pieces out, starts looking at, I think this is when he starts reminiscing about his work and how he wants to continue to be he wants to continue to be a cloner, basically. That was one cool thing he said in the amphitheater was like, oh, the amazing work of the Kaminoans. I'm like, hey, this is what I've been reduced to. I'm like, wow, I get a little endorphin spike when we get stuff like that. So the doorbell rings, and lo and behold, what's on the ground? Yellow travel biscuits coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge 2023. And if you buy the souvenir case... Probably, I don't know. Probably that's what's going to happen. So he goes to work the next day, and we wind up basically in like the same office that Cyril worked in. I don't know if this is a reused set or what, but I mean, it kind of looks exactly like the ISB. That was the first thing I noticed. I'm like, oh man, that looks like ISB, doesn't it? ISB headquarters. Dr. Pershing is working, and he's just kind of like, I you know what? I'm doing whatever I can do to help. We get some real like Office Space kind of vibes from Dorky McGoober face, talking about how, like, oh, this is just the way things are. You should enjoy your work. We're doing stuff to help. By the way, we're destroying billions and billions and billions of credits worth of, useful equipment because it was Imperial tech, which doesn't sit well with Mr. Pershing. Oh, no. So we get our first kind of our first signal that the New Republic is not maybe what we think it is. Maybe it isn't as virtuous and amazing or, in danger and awesome as our rebellion was to begin with. They're incompetent. It's a cubicle. It's a cubicle farm, right? The New Republic is just making bureaucratic decisions. Oh, don't get me into politics, man. My brain just started ranting right there. We don't do that here. But yeah, it's a bureaucratic, inefficient, and what's the word I'm looking for? Bureaucratic, inefficient, and kind of like stalled. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but basically, they just want those TPS reports. That's what I was looking for. They just want TPS reports. So we're basically seeing that, okay, the New Republic maybe isn't everything that we thought it was. And Pershing is like, we've been reduced to numbers at this point. You have to remember that when they reassign these people from the Empire, the other thing that they do is they give them numbers. So just like being a stormtrooper, just like being a clone, he's like LD 317 or, whatever his number was. I didn't memorize the numbers. I apologize. But after a long and hard day of data entry for this absolute savage of, cloning technology, this absolute amazing doctor who's been able to do such incredible things and now reduced to data entry, he goes on a little date. He goes on a nice little date. He goes on a date with, what was her name? I got to scroll back up. This is how much I loved this character. I still don't even remember her name. Captain Karen. Elia Kane. I think I'm going to stick with this. I kind of like Captain Karen. So Pershing and Captain Karen go on a just the most adorable date in the world. And this is where it really, really, really fell apart for me. Because first off, what do they call these? Photon fizzes or something? These little these ice pops, photon fizzes or something, the glow pops. If it wasn't immediately apparent at this point right here, I mean, just look at it, right? You got one guy with a blue one, somebody with a red one. Is that a little bit of foreshadowing? I don't know. But don't forget, Photon Fizzes coming to Galaxy's Edge 2023. Hashtag marketing. Scott Westbrook for 5 says, I hate that I'm losing my enthusiasm for Star Wars.
Shit.
I feel you, man. I'm a little bit in the same boat right now. But at the same time, I just feel like, if like any of my subscribers or anybody in the chat is just like, dude, I can't watch this anymore. Like, I don't even want to watch a stream about somebody talking about this. I really can't blame them. I've kind of got it. I got myself into this at this point to stick with Star Wars and continue to do this on YouTube. But at this point, it's kind of it's either way. I mean, obviously, I want it to succeed. Of course, I want Star Wars to succeed. I'm a Star Wars fan. I've got $3,000 worth of plastic and crap in this room that basically I've accrued over my career of loving Star Wars. But I haven't bought anything Disney. Oh, I just lied. I have the Razor Crest, and I have K2SO, and I have a Mando helmet, and there's a plushie Baby Yoda somewhere. I won't lie to you. There is a plushie Baby Yoda somewhere. Put me up on a cross. What do you want? All right. I like Grogu. All right, so moving on. We get this really cringy, long, kind of awkward, maybe we're going on a date, but not kind of, sort of, also really. And they just basically turned Coruscant into something I hate now. I don't like it now. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the attitude in which they handled it. Like Coruscant feels like a cruise ship. I don't know. It's so hard to explain the feeling that I got from watching this particular portion of the episode. But it just, dude, you know what it is? It's freaking Disneyland. It felt like Disneyland. Felt like I'm walking through freaking Disneyland. I'm like, this feels oddly familiar. So we get some wonderful exposition between the two, and then, oh my God, she just plays the funniest prank in the world. God, I wish I could get it to freeze on that screen. I need that for a thumbnail. Hold on. I'm going to kill the music and see if I can just... We're going to pause it. Nope, don't even worry about it. Don't even... Damn it, it's before that. Oh, I want the face so bad. I'm going to get this stream taken down for sure. For sure. It's worth it, though. I just need the... Damn it. It's too blurry. Whatever. That's fine. So, yeah, we get the funny prank where she gets him to touch the only piece of the planet of Coruscant that's actually sticking up through basically the designed portion of the world, which I thought was kind of cool. Again, handled absolutely awfully. And then we get the kind of... This reminds me of Idiocracy when they're talking to the robot. It's like, are you feeling any kind of depression? Are you feeling any resentment or anger? Are you feeling anything? And he lies multiple times to this robot. And like, obviously, doesn't matter. But then we get basically this day-to-day, right? We get the day-to-day of Pershing for another 10 minutes. So this is from having the date until we move on the plot. It's 10 minutes of day-to-day office space on Coruscant. Not bueno. So then this dude opens the door, and Pershing basically says, look, I'm down. Let's get me some, I need some equipment. I want to continue with my cloning research, right? The actual name of the episode was Fan Repellent. Giggles. So this dude answers the door. He's like, "Hey, look, let's go get that. Let's go get that cloning stuff you said we could, we could procure. I'm down to go with you." Without really knowing any part of the plan, apparently, he says, "Yeah, I'm down to go with you. Let's go get this stuff. Where do we gotta go?"
Stupid!
They get dressed up and they hop on the train, and we get, this is, how long is this scene? Hold on here. Let's start. Okay, from the start of the train scene. Until they jump off, that's another 10 minutes. So 10 minutes of the train scene. And I'm going to break this down for you in about 30 seconds. This is what happens on the train scene. They get on the train. They're hanging out on the train. Some robots come looking for tickets, and they jump off the train. Oh, and there's a really, really, really just cringy line where they're like, "How about Dirk's days?" or something like, I don't even remember what it was. It was like, "How about Dirk's days? What do you think about, how about Dirk's days?" I don't remember what the line was, but it was awful. They reused, oh God, it was just bad. It was bad. So they jump off the train. This is just the most draggy scene ever. Really pretty. It's cool because they go into the works. That's one thing that's really cool. They they leave the center of the city and they go into the works. So I was kind of into that. Looked really pretty. And they jump off somehow on a train moving fucking Mach 30. They happen to land on, I don't know if they were shipping cocaine or if this was, I don't know, maybe bantha fur. They had found like the one shipment of bantha fur in Coruscant and just landed directly on it. It was incredible. It was amazing. If Cal Kestis had done that, he would have been red paint on the side of the ground. But what are you going to do? So they land, and then we get an awesome shot. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, I can't overstate like how pretty this episode was and how badly they handled the absolute gold that was handed to them by the art team. Because this is friggin', man, this is really pretty. I mean, if I could just pull those two characters off and just have this as a screensaver, look at how gorgeous the Coruscant, the Coruscant site is. There's, I mean, you see ISDs all over in the background. It's just really, really, really pretty. So they go hop into the ISD. They start looking around for some stuff to scavenge. There are some beetles in here, and you'll have to excuse me. I don't remember the name of the beetles, but we've seen them before. Hold on, I gotta like, I was getting stuffy. And they explore around until they find what they need. So Pershing starts throwing everything that he can into his box, and oh my God, there's a sound. There's a sound. Yeah, Shane. So Shane, I just want to say this, like, ILM is absolutely killing it. In terms of like the visuals of the show, I have zero beef. I've got no beef. I mean, it is absolutely, every single episode looks like a movie and it's gorgeous. ILM is not the problem. ILM is not the problem at all. They've been doing a fantastic job. So they hear a bunch of rustling. They run outside, and then what's going on? New Republic officers show up, and boom, Dr. Pershing is arrested by the New Republic. Turns out, oh damn, I already forgot her name. What were we calling her? Let's just call her Travel Biscuits. Travel Biscuits set him up. Travel Biscuits set him up. And apparently, the way that the New Republic handles anybody who's a little too flirtatious with danger, if they're one of their reintegration recruits, is sticking them on a table and hitting them with a mind flare on a low setting, but hitting them with a mind flare. New Republic looking dumber and dumber and dumber every single day. So we get this super cringy moment where this particular Mon Calamari is talking about how he loves doing the mind flare. I found it quite pleasing. It's amazing. You should try the mind flare. I did it once. It's awesome. This whole scene drove me up a wall, absolutely up a wall. And then they start the mind flare, and it's like something from frickin' Willy Wonka, right? Let's see if we can get a still of that mind flare going. Pershing's like, don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me, bro. I can't get a slide of it. But then she's hanging out with Bo Karen, not Bo Karen. What are we calling her? Captain Karen, Captain Karen. There's a lot of sexual preference words flying in through here. Travel biscuits. So Travel Biscuits basically tells this Twi'lek, look, this is an old friend of mine. I want to sit here. I want to watch this. I want to watch all this happen. And apparently the medical officer in charge of this operation's like, sure, I was going to go get some shawarma anyways. I'll see you guys later. You have fun, okay? Be good, kids. And just takes off. And of course, what happens? Travel Biscuits just slams up. I mean, this is like straight out of frickin' The Princess Bride, right? Travel Biscuits pulls the Princess Bride, not to turn, and turns that thing up and fries Dr. Pershing. I have questions. If this is your top scientist, why would you not kidnap her and bring her back to Moff Gideon and force him to work? Why wouldn't you do that? No, they set her up to spend God knows how much time on Coruscant infiltrating this program, and then somehow magically getting them to a point where she can get him in a mind flare alone in a room with no other staff, no medical officers, no nothing, and then just fry his brains. Interesting. Very interesting. Don't ask questions, kids, you don't want to know the answer to. I still can't believe that. So Pershing's done for good. I'm sure they'll bring him back. They'll be like, oh, it was a late model mind flare. So it turns out if you just feed him red travel biscuits coming to Galaxy's Edge in 2023, he'll be fine. He just needed red travel biscuits and everything's going to be good to go. Moving on. Stupid! So we get back to Din and Bo heading off to their new planet, which there is a name for, and I don't know, and I apologize for that. But I put a timestamp in here because this is an interesting part. 27, 53. Somehow, while this episode was going on, Din got his bubble reinstalled for Grogu. How? Oh, heck, I don't know. Stupid! These are small mistakes I feel like they could have avoided. But, you know, this kind of lends to the question, what else were we maybe supposed to get at the end of season 2 that we didn't get? Or maybe something else that was supposed to happen in episode 1 that didn't happen? I don't know. Tough to say, but Grogu bubble is 100% there. So they roll back to the covert. We get a lot of Paz. I feel like Paz is going to be a big part of the season because we got his kid. He's the first one to confront them at the door. I feel like he's definitely going to be the champion for the armor when it comes to winning them the dark saber. Who knows? I don't know. Din's going to wind up turning on his buddies, the true Mandalorians, and probably fighting with Bo-Katan. I'm going to be honest with you. That's probably what it was. So they go back in. Okay, now, since you've bathed in the living waters, Mando, you've been redeemed. And oh, by the way, Bo Karen, you have been redeemed as well, because she hasn't taken her helmet off since they left Mandalore. And of course, there is the very heartfelt, all the Mandos grabbing Bo's shoulders and like, oh, hey, you're part of the family, part of the crew, part of the ship. You're in the family now. You understand? Which I didn't mind. I didn't mind this ending part. It's cool. Now we kind of have a basis for what was going on or where they're going to go with the Mandalorians themselves. How they start to work in what's going on with Grief Karga and everything down in hometown. I don't know yet. But that was the episode. That was the episode. And then, of course, obviously they feature the Mythosaur skull at the end right there. I'm not going to say it. But I'll drink to it. Stupid! Here's the bottom line. This is my full take of everything that happened in that episode, where I'm at now compared to where I was at the end of the last episode. This was bad. This was bad. I can understand that a lot of people like it because it had the Andor feel. And I know for a lot of people, the Andor show had the best feel out of everything that's been put out. Because you had practical sets. You had somebody who was actually able to fucking write anything, actually writing the show. But that's not what Mando is. Mando's not Mandor. It's Mando. And I'll be honest with you, this was regressive at best for Mandalorian in terms of what people have come to expect. It was slow. It was very slow. There were some tense parts, but it was very slow. And then there was a bunch of that really shitty kind of Disney exposition, what I call the new age Star Wars, where they're making decisions that it's just kind of cringy moments, you know? So it's not like C-3PO saying something dumb and then Han says something to, you know, basically chide him, kind of cringy. This is like full blown, holy shit, you guys are actually taking this seriously. Like somebody's going to watch this and be like, wow. Wow. So that's what the citizens of Coruscant are like. Or like, oh, so that's what a New Republic refugee does. They have glow stick popsicles and touch the mountain. Fuck. Just leave that at the door. They could have trimmed a bunch of time off this episode and been in a much, 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 much better position. I'm going to be honest with you, man. If I was going to structure this episode, you could have kept it the same. You could have done the beginning, which I thought was great. Like I said, go to Dr. Pershing on Coruscant, which is great. Like I said, cut that down to the only thing that he does is basically meet up with that scientist, have a couple conversations, decide that he wants to continue with the cloning, and then they go to the Star Destroyer. We skip all the Office Space stuff. We skip all of the crap with the popsicles, all of the dumb, just kind of, I don't even know what to call it. It's junk. Get rid of all the junk, trim the fat off of this, and make a streamlined episode that continues the plot forward quickly. That's what I would do. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me. They're going to say, this is called world building. That's not world building. No, they needed to figure out some way to try to shoehorn in the fact that Gideon's coming back and or not working alone. I mean, Bo-Katan says it. I've pissed off warlord. That's not a warlord. And then they go to stand at the table and they're like, oh, well, Moff Gideon escaped the tribunal. Like, work those in. That's fine. But all the bullshit that's on the side of it is just gross. And the problem is that fat that's kind of surrounding it, it's not good fat. It's not healthy fat. It's just fat. This is not a Krispy Kreme. It's like the shitty end of a freaking water buffalo steak. Because I have like 40 pounds of that stuff. And the fat on that is not good. It's not like a ribeye. It's shit. It's chewy and it's tough. And you wind up having to spit it out. And that's kind of what I did with this episode. It was fatty. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. Wasn't a fan. But the beginning and the end were good. So it's not all dark. But my God, you could just... There's so much else you could do with your time and your money, Lucasfilm. I don't really know why that was the decision that was made. And Daimyo makes a good point. I love that name, the hanger bait Daimyo. He spelled hanger wrong, by the way. You're not hanging from anything. It's the hanger, like a ship hanger. Hangar, hanger bait Daimyo. I want to know who that is. I think I can find out if I click something else on here. I don't know how to do it though. Toddzilla with another 5. I'm glad George Lucas is alive and well, but if he wasn't, he'd be rolling over in his grave. I think he loses a lot of sleep at night. I could be totally wrong. I mean, you know what? I take that back 100%. I don't think he loses a damn wink. He did exactly what he needed to, and he got out and he made a shitload of money. So I'm happy for him. But I'd love to think that like George wakes up, goes to take a pee, starts brushing his teeth, like watches that episode of Mando and just What have I done? We'll always have George Lucas's Star Wars. That's why I do my Friday streams. That's why I do the Star Wars that we love. You know, it's important to remember the amazing things that he gave us. But yeah, with this stuff, man, I don't know. Somebody needs to go over to Lucasfilm and just give a couple smacks. And you know what? That's funny. I guess I can roll on this for just a little bit. There was a topic of conversation that I've been thinking about, because anytime I watch a Mando episode, anything like that, if I hop on a stream immediately after, I'm gonna have more positive than negative things to say, because recency bias and I had a couple people point this out to me. Recency bias is something that's very real. You get off a ride and you're like, whoa, that was sick. And then 2 days later, you're like, it was kind of fucking mid, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like you just have time to think about it and kind of digest things, and you see more of things for what they are. Maybe that's part of the reason I don't do watch parties too, other than being up at freaking 3 o'clock in the morning before I have to go to work at 5. But there's this big debate in my brain, at least my brain, that I don't know if you guys have heard the conversation that Star Wars can't always be badass. Have you ever heard anybody say that? Like, Star Wars can't always be badass. And I want to say, like, my freaking hero, dude, Sam, said that. Star Wars can't always be badass. And I totally get that. Star Wars can't always be badass. There has to be story elements to it. There has to be stuff that goes on that brings people in and develops the story. Obviously. But right now, more than anything, Star Wars is not taken seriously by Star Wars fans, because Star Wars doesn't take itself seriously at all. And so I think one of the best things that they can do at this point in time is to create a project that people can take seriously. And I know you guys are going to be like, what about Andor? I hear you. Not the type of series I'm talking about. I think it needs to take itself seriously in terms of having a show that will bring in fans of the Jedi and the Sith, taking itself seriously. So I'm not just talking about, you know, some guy on Coruscant or somebody in the rebellion. I'm talking about a Jedi and Sith show that takes itself seriously. I think that would be like freaking Neosporin to the fan base. And again, I'm not talking about shitty VFX where they're using NeoPixel lightsabers that like light people up way too much and yada yada yada. No, I need a well-made, properly handled VFX, good story, dramatic, not necessarily fast-paced constantly, but at least let's move the series forward, or ideally the movie forward with every scene that we interact with. And give me some Jedi and some Sith. Give me some stakes. Let's see some people die. Let's make a, you know, let's make a Star Wars movie, a war in the stars with knights. I think that sounds like a freaking winner to me. I don't know about you guys. And you can even have your side story, your second story be, you know, take your Patty Jenkins, take your X-Wing or whatever you want it to be, you know, Actus class, whatever, anything. Something. Donna Hergenrether for a very generous $9.99. My heart was broken. Luke and the gang gave everything for the New Republic to turn into Empire 2.0. Couldn't we get a good 20 years of the Great Republic? Sad. Thanks for the stream. Oh, God, you're right. That was a sad dance, because you're completely right. It does, you know, that's tough, man. I don't even know really where to broach that subject of like the New Republic sucks ass already. They're already blind and moronic to the point where, like, what's the point? What's the point of all of it? Hanger Bay Daimyo, I'm landed gentry. Are you landed gentry? You're landed gentry?
I will send you to Jesus.
If I hear landed gentry one more time in Star Wars, I'm throwing my computer across the room. You know what I mean? Throwing it across the room. Cody says it's not about being badass. It's about competent writing and not changing the lore on a whim. So I would agree with you. It is about competent writing. But look, here's the deal. Andor had more than competent writing. Nobody watched it. Why? Do you think if Andor had been shifted into something else where we saw Jedi Knights fighting and all kinds of crazy shit going on, and it was an action show with good writing and depth and gravitas and something that we gave a crap about, Andor was good, but it could have leaned into Star Wars a bit more. I would agree. That's another thing that kind of that was kind of missing from it. It was very, very grounded. And I always say grounded is good. I almost wonder if they did grounded, but they did it in a way that made people uninterested. It was like any other sci-fi show. You know what I mean? That's just kind of what it felt like. I don't know. Ted's Nerd World for $5. You just want to dance tonight, huh? It is Thursday. It's my Friday. I'm going golfing tomorrow. I'll put a vid up on Stash Rendar. Nipsey and I are going golfing tomorrow. We'll be dancing. You know who's a terrible person? I hate myself. You gotta see, hold on. You have to see this on Twitter. I laughed so friggin' hard. Fat Steven, my man, Fat Steven. Let's see if I can find this. Surely you all know of our good friend here at the Hangar Bay, Drunk 3PO, and Echo Base Network. Apparently, they have a common enemy. They have somebody who doesn't like either of them. I'm a little offended that I wasn't included here, but again, nobody gives a shit about X-Wing, right? It can't always be about X in the Hangar Bay. You know what I mean? You guys have to see this. This is so funny. Oh God, people get so desperate sometimes for attention, and they don't realize that like being desperate for that attention makes them look like a fucking idiot.
I would think someone in our as respected would have brains enough to go to somebody like Data Racer or Drunk 3PO. Even he's an idiot anyway.
How dare you call that beautiful man Jay, aka Drunk 3PO, an idiot?
Drunk 3PO. Even he's an idiot anyway.
How dare you tell people to go ask for advice and then call him an idiot?
He's an idiot anyway.
You heard it first here on Twitter, folks. Drunk 3PO is an idiot. I'm bummed he's not in the chat right now. Drunk 3PO is an idiot. Brought to you by the gal who can't speak. Drunk 3PO is an idiot.
What an idiot!
Star Wars in a nutshell for you kids. You want to get on the internet? You want to talk about Star Wars with your friends? Be ready. Be ready. Drunk 3PO is an idiot. That's what I commented on it. I'm like, I call you worse things every single day, and they're mostly true. Anywho, all right, guys. So tomorrow, oh wait, I missed member chats? Hold on. See, this is the problem. I didn't have it back up again. We got a 1 month here. Hold on. All right. Let's answer these member chats. I don't want to leave these hanging. It's only showing one. All right. Nova Vaughn, member for 1 month, says they need writers who respect the legacy of George Lucas the same way the writers of Cobra Kai respected the Karate Kid franchise. And arguably, same thing that happened with Top Gun as well. It's kind of interesting that those are both massively popular shows. And it kind of seems like there's definitely a vibe around doing that. You would think people would take notice of other things that are being, well received by existing fan bases that are They're trending on Twitter. A lot of people are talking about them, and they're doing well in the ratings. If I were in show business, which I'm not, I would be accounting those kinds of things into decisions that I'm making as I'm making a show. Still to this day, like one of the most frustrating things I ever heard was, I don't remember if it was KK or it was somebody else talking about the parks and saying, we don't want to make a park for 40-year-olds. Like, bro, when you started it, I think I was like 27 or something like that, or maybe I was 26 when they started talking about making the parks. I'm not 40, bitch. Go dye your hair. Maria Espino, one of our moderators and a good friend of mine, 15 months. Loved having you in the storyboard animation breakdown meeting earlier where Star Wars doesn't suck. Hashtag Star Wars lives in us. Yeah, I feel like that's the other reason that I'm super mad about these episodes and how they're being written, because they're fucking bad. It's just not good. It's not good. And I don't know how to really describe that to you guys other than like being around when a story is being told properly and like good writing occurs with pew-pews and lightsabers and fun stuff. It gets really tough to defend a lot of the stuff that these folks do, but what are you gonna do? And then Ghostwriter for 8 months. 8 months. It's already been that long. This is the way. Thanks, bud. Okay, I think that did it for. Oh, no, we're not done yet. Zombie Box Reviews drops in at Recruit. You've been a member of the channel for 2 months. Glad to have you, bro. Congratulations on hitting 4K subs. Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Oh god, did he just pop in? You got to go back like 5 minutes. We were talking about you. So don't forget to join us tomorrow for the Star Wars that we love. It's gonna be a good one because we're gonna be talking about the entirety of George Lucas Star Wars as it exists, episode 1 through 6. We may do a couple comparisons here and there to modern Star Wars, but we're not gonna go completely off the rails. Basically talking about all the things that we hate about the Star Wars that we don't love. But I think it's gonna be an interesting conversation. That's going to be it for me tonight. Unfortunately, I got to dip. I have some other things that I got to do, but I will see you tomorrow. And then hopefully we're going to see you on Saturday night as well for a late night with Risman. If he's up for it, we're going to be live. And that one's always a little bit spicy, a little saucy. We'll be drinking brews and having a good time as always. All right, everybody, have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, my chat. One of the greatest chats on YouTube. Definitely some of the funniest people on YouTube. All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Perfect.